Now, speaking of people that the country would be, speaking of the country being a lot better off, the country would be a whole lot better off without folks like Chappell Roan. Chappell Roan, for those of you that don't know, is Taylor Swift for the girls who got bullied by the girls who listened to Taylor Swift. She is everything that's wrong with Gen Z. Every, loudmouth, chest-pounding, Fox News-watching Republican stereotype of Gen Z, Chappell Roan fits it to a T. I mean, this is the girl who cancels concerts because she has anxiety, who won't do interviews, and is just outright rude to most reporters that want to talk to her on the red carpet events. Like, sorry, sweetheart, that's part of what you signed up for. I don't understand how you guys can't, as fans of her, how you guys can listen to, how you can put up with that. I mean, you guys have to get, at least I hope, have to get up and go to work every morning. You don't get to say, oh, I have anxiety, I'm not going to go. Why on earth would you support somebody with your money? Why would you buy their tickets, maybe take time off work? I don't know, but set time aside, turn down other plans, knowing that on a whim, she may wake up on the wrong side of the bed and just cancel it like you don't even matter. How could you support somebody like that? How could listen to whatever music you want? I'm a firm believer in separating the art from the artist, but I'm talking with your money, more importantly, with your time. How could you support somebody like that? Truly, think about what goes into a concert. What goes into going into a concert? It's not just the $80 you spent on tickets, right? It's maybe some of you had to take time off work. Maybe some of you worked overtime to get those tickets. Time that could have been spent with family. And even if you get the refund on the tickets because she canceled or gets moved to another date, now you got to build your schedule around another date that's totally up in the air, by the way. But if you got kids, you hire a sitter. You turn down other plans that you could have made. Maybe you have a side job and they asked you to come in and you turned down work for that. You sacrificed all these opportunities, all this time that you could have spent with family, friends, to whatever, kids, whatever, to go see somebody who doesn't care enough about you to give you more than a couple hours heads up that she's going to cancel the show. I couldn't imagine supporting somebody like that. It's not like shit. Like I've had Blink 182 tickets when Travis Barker had a fucking heart attack. I get it, right? I'm not mad about that. But to just say, oh, my anxiety. Hi, sweetheart. Welcome to America. Welcome to life. We all have anxiety. That's part of being human. If you don't have anxiety, you might be a sociopath. Have you ever considered that? It's not about not having anxiety. It's about managing your anxiety properly. Anxiety is not a disease. Anxiety is a symptom of a disease, the same way depression is. Depression and anxiety are symptoms of other underlying problems. Now, that anxiety, maybe I'm not good in social settings. That's social anxiety. That's fine. But the anxiety stems from something. The depression stems from something. But we've decided that since we can make money off of it and keep people locked into this, never-ending cycle of drugs and therapy, that we're going to treat anxiety and depression like they're their own separate diseases. They're not. They're not. There's always something causing it. Maybe you're a basket case who's not adjusted to society. That may be the problem. But that's the cause. You don't just have crippling anxiety. I've been very open. I've dealt with hypochondria my entire life. Like irrational shit. Not like you idiots during COVID. Like there was one point I was on the road working comedy, and I found myself 2 inches from a gas station toilet because I was inspecting my shit for blood, because that's the first sign of not just colon cancer, but a prolapsed rectum. I've been there. Gave me anxiety, made it very, very hard to function. But I didn't just have anxiety. It wasn't just, oh, I'm anxious. No, I had something wrong with my brain. I thought I had all these crazy diseases that nobody ever gets. Brain-eating amoeba, stupid shit like that. Wasn't just general anxiety. Anyway, that's my rant. But Chappell Roan went on the Call Her Daddy podcast and had some controversial comments. Now, there is a YouTuber, a Libertarian YouTuber, I think. I don't know. I don't know her, but I'm like a degree of separation away from her because people I know her, and she has a bigger following than us, so congratulations to her on that. But her name's Hannah Cox, and she has never seen an unhinged take from a hysterical, childless woman that she wasn't ready to happily defend. That's what I've noticed about her. And so for the second half of this show, we're just going to react to Hannah's video. Is that cool? Because this video pretty much, I mean, I can go on a rant about what Chappell said, but I feel like this video here is going to give me more content for you guys. Is that cool? So without further ado, she'll play Chappell's quote, and then we'll do the reaction here.
If there's one group of people you do not want to piss off online, it's
black people.
Mothers.
Oh, my bad.
But apparently no one told Chappell Roan that in her media training, and as is becoming a bit of the norm for her when it comes to major interviews, she super stepped in it last week. Chappell appeared on the Call Her Daddy podcast where she told host Alex Cooper this.
All of my friends who have kids are in hell. I don't know anyone. I actually don't know anyone who's like happy and has children at this age. I have like a 1-year-old, like 3-year-old, 4 and under, 5 and under. I literally have not met anyone who's happy, anyone who has like light in their eyes, anyone who has slept.
People who have never watched the Call Her Daddy show, people who have never.
So people with brains are who she's talking about. Intelligent people don't watch the Call Her Daddy show, for the record.
Heard of Chappell Roan have seen this clip. It went mega viral, and moms have been taking it uber personally and very in their feelings ever since. But
very in their... What? Yeah, as it turns out, when you make general statements about groups of people just attacking them and patently false claims about them, yeah, they don't like it. What a hell of a concept. Now, I'm going to defend moms here, but I want to be clear. I'm not defending single moms. As we all know, they are the lowest form of life on the planet. So we're not going to defend them. All right, let's continue here. That's an attractive still right there. Oh my God. I'm going to leave that up so you guys can have nightmares tonight.
Is what Chappell said actually wrong? And if she
yes
is so off base, then why are moms so offended? Let's deep.
If she's so off base, why are they so offended? Maybe because she just said something about them that was false. I mean, she took a stereotype, and that's what it is. That's the stereotype from childless people, which is that all parents are miserable, and they use that to justify their own insecurities. But she took a stereotype that childless people commonly spread, or people that don't want children commonly spread, which is that all parents are miserable. And then they got upset. It's like, yeah, I mean, what do you think would happen if I came on here and said, hey, all Jews are cheap bastards that control the media and the banking sectors. And then a bunch of Jews did a reaction video being like, hey, I work at a pharmacy. I don't have anything to do with that. And then I came back, some idiot YouTuber came back and was like, well, if he's so off base, why are all these Jews so offended? Well, because he said something that was patently false. And don't even start with the, well, she just said only the moms she knows, only the parents she knows are miserable. We all know what that means. The implication's clear. When you say all the blank people I know are blank, you clearly are making a generalized statement about the entire demographic of people. You're clearly trying to dissuade your audience from doing something. Like, let's think about it this way. My best friend since like 4th grade, was over at my house on Friday. We were looking for something to eat. And it's Lent, so I can't eat real food. But it's Friday, so he's over, and I'm like, what do you want to eat? Now, if he were to say, let's go try that Chinese buffet up the street from your house, and I went in return, I don't know, man. Everybody I know who's eaten there has gotten food poisoning from it. And then I doubled down like she did. I didn't just say, because she didn't just say they're miserable. She used the words, they're in hell. I'm like, he's like, well, what do you mean? Like, just Like, people don't like it? No, man. Literally every person I know, and I know a lot that have been to that Chinese buffet, have shit their brains out within an hour of leaving it. Would I just be sharing my experience, or am I actively trying to dissuade him from wanting to go to this Chinese buffet? I'm trying to convince him, hey, don't go to the Chinese buffet. So when Chappell Roan says, all the people I know who are parents are miserable, they're all in hell, she's, whether she knows it or not, and I think she does because she's part of an anti-human death cult that is the left, she is actively trying to convince her audience not to have children. That's the only reason somebody would say that. That's the only reason. Like I said, the implication's clear. When you say all the X people I know are doing Y, you are clearly trying to stereotype the entire demographic. It is clearly a general statement. All right. Man, it's just bad with stills.
Brief.
We're going to debrief.
First, I'm Hannah Cox. Welcome to my channel where I bring you my politically homeless takes on politics and culture. Before we get started, take a second to like this video, head over and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss any videos. The battle between moms and women without children has been raging for longer than I've been alive, it seems. And to be honest, it's a fight that is
So how long? Like 47 years?
almost entirely being waged by one side. As a woman,
No, that's not true at all. It is not being waged by one side. We immediately start off with a lie.
Lies, 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 lies! Lies, 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 lies!
Immediately start off with a lie. It is not being waged by almost entirely by one side. Do you remember that whole "we're dinks"? The whole thing was just a sarcastic attack at parents. The whole thing, the whole trend. It is far from one-sided. Chappell Roan just did a whole attack. Pat, the side note. Can we say it's probably safe to assume that Chappell Roan's friends, really, even if all of them she does know are in hell, probably not getting knocked up by winners. Can we leave it at that? Probably not letting the highest quality of men come inside of them.
who has said since I was a small child that I did not want to have kids. I have been on the receiving end of so much wrath and condescension and just ire from mothers and fathers for as long as I can remember. And what's really interesting,
Wrath. They're angry. Something tells me that might be a little dramatic. Now, again, I've never walked a day in her shoes, thank God. But something tells me, based on the overall tone of this video so far, that she might just be stretching the truth a tad bit. I don't know, but that's what it feels like to me.
to me about this war that seems very one-sided is that the people on the opposite side of it from me have no problem attacking women who don't have kids, threatening them, saying they're going to be
Threatening them! Now it's threats! Where? You better have a kid or I'm going to show up at your house with an AK-47. Threats. If you don't get knocked up by Christmas, I'm going to hit your house with a car bomb.
miserable and die alone, that all they have is their cats, that
Well, that's not untrue.
their lives are worthless, that they're on SSRIs. Like, it is
I mean, again, not untrue. By the way, we're going to unveil a brand new game in this. We're going to play Liberal White Woman Bingo, okay? It's a brand new game that I've invented, and we've got all kinds of fun boxes that we can check off here. Now, we're going to check this one off first for Liberal White Woman Bingo, which is the free space, which is that they are either single, childless, or both. So that's always a given when dealing with the liberal white woman. So we'll check that one off. We only need 4 more for a bingo. If you're following along on YouTube or Rumble, you can see it. If you're on audio and you want to check out the card, I will post it to the Facebook group. Okay, to the That's Based with Caleb Salvatore Facebook group. So we've already got one here for liberal woman bingo. Now, I don't know if she's a liberal. She probably doesn't identify as one, but she sure as shit sounds like one. So All right, let's continue with this incoherent ranting. This will be fun.
It's truly vile and venomous, and they direct this at women that they don't even know online every single day.
Yeah, because moms going after childless women. That's the only time people are ever vile and nasty online. That's completely exclusive to moms. No one's ever been, like we were just talking about earlier, vile and nasty because they can hide behind the anonymity of the internet. It's never once happened. It's only moms. This is a brand new, she fell into a brand new discovery here. This is really some A1 investigation shit here. All right.
But per usual, the bullies can't take it when things start coming back in their direction.
The bullies, they're so mean.
And these people have the thinnest skin imaginable.
Well, I guess you would know. You're the expert, so.
What Chappell actually said in that interview should not really get under your skin. Saying that someone doesn't want the lifestyle that you have chosen to have is not an insult in and of itself.
That's not even remotely close to what she said. Oh my God. Oh my God. Talk about a bad faith argument. She literally said, all of the parents I know are miserable. And I quote, all of the people I know with kids are currently in hell. That's not the same thing as saying, I don't want kids. That's making a very, very, number one, wrong statement about a group. Of course, there are parents that are in hell. I'm not going to say that. I'm a firm believer that not everyone should be a parent. This lady in this video, her parents are probably a prime example of that. But I'm like, I don't have a problem with someone just saying, hey, I don't want kids. I didn't want kids for a long time, right? Life changes as you grow up. So like, I'm not going to be upset about somebody saying that, but that's not what she said. There's a difference between saying, I don't want to do this, and everyone who's doing this is miserable, which implies that they made some type of mistake and they shouldn't be doing it, and you're kind of warning other people not to do it. That's what she's doing there.
And if you're happy with your life and a normally emotionally regulated adult, then somebody else saying that your life doesn't look fun or your choices wouldn't be theirs really shouldn't faze you.
Oh, there you go. If you're an emotionally regulated adult and somebody makes an objectively false statement about you or a group of people that you belong to, you shouldn't be upset about it. You shouldn't have anything to say. You should just let it slide. There you go. There's no way that slope gets any more slippery. I was going to say slipperier. That's not a word, though.
According to most moms and parents in this conversation, they don't want my life. I mean, at least according to what they say, the reactions to this entire debate seem pretty sus. But like, they are...
The reactions to the debate saying, hey, you're wrong, is sus. Okay.
allowed to consistently say, hey, we think your life sucks. We think that not having kids is miserable. We think that actually makes you even a bad person and selfish.
Who is saying who is saying this shit?
And yet when somebody says back in their direction, hey, your life doesn't look like fun to me.
Not what she said. We've established that. So we're setting the tone for this. Is a long video, guys. Buckle up. We're setting the tone for the rest of the video, which is just going to contain bad faith, borderline retarded arguments. Okay.
They completely lose their minds. There are many
Completely lose their minds. Saying, hey, you're wrong, is completely losing their minds.
lifestyles that I don't think I'd want. I don't want to live the life of a hippie in a van. I don't want to live the life of a New York finance bro. Life presents a lot of choices, and there is not a one-size-fits-all approach. But for some reason, when people have the audacity to say that they don't want to be parents or that that lifestyle doesn't look fun to them or like something that they want to pursue, parents are outraged. And now, obviously, a lot of this gets...
That's not true. It's not true. Not true. When you do it in a condescending and demeaning way, yes, parents will get outraged. When you maybe not outraged, but upset. When you do it in an inflammatory tone like that, when you do it in an effort to dissuade people who are maybe on the fence, or maybe young girls, because that's primarily who her fan base is, that are impressionable and undecided on the issue, yes, people have a problem with that. You're a role model to these kids, and you're the reality of the situation, guys, is you're pushing them down a road that there is no turning back from. If you decide not, like, there's a couple of things you can't undo, and that's one of them. Like these tattoos I got when I was 19, if I decide 20 years from now that I regret them, which I won't, but if I decide like 20 years and I'm in my 50s that I'm done, I shouldn't have got these tattoos, I can go get them lasered off. I can get them covered, whatever, right? I don't care enough. It's never affected me negatively, but I can go get them lasered off. That's not even permanent. But if you decide you're not going to have kids, I mean, once you hit like 25, man, the clock starts ticking. Once you hit 35, the clock is going in hyperspeed. And there's a good percentage of that time where you're deciding not to have kids that your brain isn't fully developed. So you're encouraging people whose brains aren't fully developed yet to make permanent decisions, and I think it's or at least start on the pathway to making permanent decisions. And I think that's a dangerous game. So yeah, I can see why people would have a problem with it, the same way they'd have a problem with people telling them, their kids in school to be trans. You're pushing them down pathways with serious long-term consequences that in a lot of the time, there's no going back from. Now, you can have kids when you're older. It's not quite the same as chopping your dick off. I understand that. But you're setting the pathway for a permanent decision. When you get in that mindset, as someone who was in that mindset for a long time, it's very, very difficult to get out of it. And sometimes people don't get out of it until it's too late. And guess what? The depression and suicide rates for women without children absolutely skyrockets in their 40s. There's a reason for that. And again, that's a cause of depression. You're not just randomly depressed. You're depressed because you don't have kids.
Whipped up by conservative media. We live in an outrage machine. Not only do you have cable news, but now you have all of these cable news outlets that are also online, and they are constantly trying to find ways to get you to click on their content and pay them money.
You guys should pay me money and click my content more. Just side note.
And what gets people to click the fastest is pure rage. And so you had outlets like the Daily Caller posting this clip from Chappell Roan's interview. You also had grifters like Charlie Kirk
Grifters like Charlie Kirk. Why is he a grifter? Because he makes a living, makes more money than you do talking about politics. I'm not the biggest Charlie Kirk fan, but I'll tell you what, that guy actually believes what the hell he's talking about. To call him a grifter is just, it's not fair. It's bullshit.
Who's usually trying to whip people into a frenzy on any given front. He said Chappell Roan, who is apparently famous, is a biological female who finds the need to identify as a female but dresses in drag, says all of her friends with young kids are in hell. I don't know anyone who's happy with kids. You should not be surprised that a person as obviously deranged as Chappell Roan, with the type of friends she probably keeps, would have such a dumb opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds right to me. I haven't heard anything I disagree with there. I mean, she is an idiot, Chappell Roan. There's no way around it.
Fact, the happiest women in America, statistically, are married with kids.
Also true. So you've got 3 paragraphs and everything he said was right. Where's the lie? Where's the grift? Meanwhile, I've lost count of how many half-truths and disingenuous bad faith takes you've done, and we're not even 10 minutes into your stupid video.
Like, it's interesting to me that they immediately try to paint this conversation as a left-wing versus right-wing.
Well, because it kind of is. Because the left wing is kind of taken on the anti-human side, in terms of genital mutilation and infanticide and, just outright encouraging people not to have children for the climate. And the right has kind of picked up the burden and been like, hey, we need people if society's going to continue on. I think that childbirth and humanity is a beautiful thing, so I'm going to try to expand the gene pool a little bit. Which, it's great because people like you eventually die out with your ideology. That's kind of the silver lining to this. But America is in a population crisis. Even at the current rates, it's not sustainable. And we've got this, and we need to have this anti-illegal immigration sentiment. I'm not disputing that at all. But immigration is one of the only things that's kept America from spiraling toward a similar population crisis the same way Japan has. We need to, on average, be having like another kid and a half per household, bare minimum, if we just want to sustain our current levels. And we're not doing that. So yeah, I have a problem when people are going out there convincing young, impressionable people, specifically young, impressionable women, that having kids is a bad thing, and giving someone who doesn't even have kids trying to push these fear tactics on one of those popular podcasts in America with Call Her Daddy. Again, that's a side issue. and indicative of far bigger problems that Call Her Daddy such a popular podcast. But the point remains. Every single time I come back, she is just making the most unattractive face imaginable. Now, I know that because of the title of this show, we're going to get some like people that probably don't agree with me tuning into this one because we got the word Chappell Roan in it, which is fine. And you're going to hit, oh, you're a misogynist. You're a sexist. How could you make those demeaning comments about women? Stick around, sweetheart. I get way, way worse on the Saturday shows. Just hang out. Repeal the 19th Amendment, by the way.
One, it's very odd to me. And it's also quite funny anytime I see on either side of this debate, people claiming studies back up their way of life is the right way to live. I mean, what an imbecile take. You can get a study to say practically anything, okay? Like, there's a lot.
Okay, great. Get a study that says the opposite of that. I dare you. Get a study that says the opposite of that. Show it. Because there have been multiple that have been run on this, and they all say the same thing. Now, she is correct. People can manipulate studies to push an agenda, but here's the reality, man. I am a very data-driven person. I am. And lung cancer happens to run in my family. Now, everyone who's gotten lung cancer in my family has smoked cigarettes since they were 15 years old. However, there is no direct proven link between smoking and lung cancer. With that said, all of the studies point to the idea that if you smoke cigarettes, there's a really, really, really good chance you're going to get lung cancer. At least it's a lot higher than the percentage of the population that does it. Now, is that proof that smoking equals lung cancer? No. In fact, there's a chance I could start smoking today and never get lung cancer in my life. But with that said, given that the data says I got a whole lot better shot of getting lung cancer, I'm just going to stay away from smoking. Now, I'm sure if you really pushed hard, you could probably find a tobacco company that was willing to sponsor a study that would say otherwise on that. But they don't have any. So again, find the study that says the opposite. We'll compare their methodologies. It'll be really easy, especially with AI. I can plug it in and see the flaws and, the pros of both studies. Great. Every time, man, every time I get back to her.
Lot of components that need to be met in order for a study to actually be reliable. And even then, bias can take effect. So there are plenty of studies out there that say single women who never marry and women who don't have kids are the happiest. And there's also studies out.
What studies? There hasn't been one. Oh my God. Do you know there's studies that say Caleb Salvatore is the most handsome man on earth? Plenty of studies.
Out there that say married women are the happiest, or that say moms are the happiest. And guess what? If you dig into who produces these studies, they tend to be organizations that have some kind of bias in you believing that one path is better than the other. But in reality, the only way to actually determine that is based on you and your individual needs and desires.
I need to smoke cigarettes. All the studies say I'm more likely to get heart disease and emphysema and lung cancer, but I need to smoke cigarettes. Is it okay if I go smoke cigarettes? It's my personal choice. You don't know. I might not get lung cancer.
Desires and wants and your situation. Not having kids is probably the right pathway for a lot of people who don't want to have kids.
Which I don't disagree with. I think there are people in this country who should not have kids. There are a lot of people in this country who should not have kids. I actually don't disagree with this right here.
Whereas not having kids for somebody who really desires having kids would make them unhappy. This is not rocket science. And ultimately, you shouldn't need a study to validate your big life choices like.
That's right. I don't need a study to tell me to smoke. I just smoke cigarettes for fun. Only when I'm drunk, though.
Whether or not you're going to rip a conscience from the void and make it live on this earth. But nevertheless, it seems as though.
See, rhetoric like that, rip a conscience from the void and make it live on this earth. How do you try to sound impartial when you use violent, disgusting rhetoric like that to describe childbirth? I mean, it's the same people that call kids crotch goblins.
You're a horrible, despicable person.
I mean, that's the same type of rhetoric. You're going to rip a soul from the void and make it live on this earth. You can't sit here and say, oh, I'm impartial. I'm impartial. No, you're not. You have just as much of an agenda as Chappell Roan. You just happen to be more well-spoken and better at hiding it. That's all there is to it.
So the targets for this outrage clickbait were hit, and boy, did they respond.
I'm a mom of 2 kids under 4, and yeah, my house is chaotic. I haven't had a full night of sleep in years, but you know what? I've never been happier in my life. There is a kind of joy that comes from motherhood that you can't explain to people who only live for the weekend or the next Instagram dopamine hit. Motherhood is messy.
Not wrong.
And exhausting, but it's also full of belly laughs, sleepy snuggles, and tiny little voices saying, I love you. It's honestly the most meaningful thing that I have ever done. The truth is that selfish people don't understand selfless joy. If your definition of happiness is constant validation and zero responsibility, of course kids sounds like a nightmare. But don't project that emptiness onto moms. Don't act like we're in hell just because we've found purpose in something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah, see, the words in hell are what kicked this reaction off. Had she just said all the parents I know are miserable, that might have been, you might have got a couple reactions. But the massive response you got were the words in hell. That's what caused this.
Motherhood isn't hell, it's a blessing. And if that makes you uncomfortable, maybe ask yourself why.
These people are never beating the allegations that they are miserable. Like everything you just said.
What? They're never beating the allegations. She's so biased. She's so biased. This is just bad faith take after bad faith take after bad faith take. She didn't matter what that woman could have said. She would have come on there and said this. Because if she paints the harsh reality, if she paints the realities that, yeah, being a mom is not all sunshine and fucking rainbows, but here's also the positive side of it, she's just going to point to the negative and be like, oh, that sounds horrible. But if she came out and just talked about the positives of being a mother, she would have come out and went, oh, you're lying, you're projecting, you're painting it. You can't win with people like this. Bad faith take after bad faith take after bad faith take. I've never watched an entire one of her videos before because I'm intelligent. And now I thank God every night that I haven't sat down and watched a full video until this one right here.
Sounds awful. You're like, yeah, my life sucks. I'm kind of in hell, but also I get so much validation from this and so much joy from this. Guess what, sweetie? That's great. Nobody said that you weren't happy.
Chappell Roan did say she wasn't happy, first off. Second off, what do you think happiness is? Haven't you heard the 50 Cent song? Sunny days wouldn't be special if it weren't for rain. Happiness wouldn't be good if it weren't for pain. The only reason we understand the concept of happiness is because we also understand the concept of sweat and tears and blood, right? Like, I mean, by this logic, we could take an NFL player who's playing the game that he loves for a living. He's never going to have to work a real job in his life. He's making $25 million a year to catch a football. And he could go onto a press conference and go, yeah, man, we got grueling training camps. I bust my ass. I have to eat the right food. I can't go out late on Saturday nights. But it's worth it because I get to play the game that I love and make an ungodly amount of money to do it. And she could come on here and go, look how miserable he is. You're making your life sound like hell. What do you mean you have to work out hard in the summer? That sounds horrible. Well, it's not to him. He's pointing out the reality of it, that anything that's worth it takes a lot of work. Anything that brings you true joy beyond that instant gratification dopamine rush takes work. Guys, it doesn't take a lot of work to go out and get drunk on a Saturday night. It doesn't take a lot of work to sit there and scroll through Instagram reels. It doesn't take a lot of work to do things like that give you instant gratification. And while it doesn't take a lot of work to sit in your ass and play video games all day. And while those may bring you temporary moments of joy and dopamine rush, the point that woman and the hypothetical football player in this situation were making was not that everything's all sunshine and rainbows. It's that anything that's actually worth fighting for in this life comes with the price. And while it may seem hard in the moment, the payoff is more than worth the work. Anyone who's been in any decent career has had to bust their ass and eat shit. Any business owner had to live through, working shitty jobs just to pay the bills while they ran their business as a side hustle at night. I could go on and on. Anyone who's gotten anything that's truly fulfilling, whether that's in their family and their career and their hobbies and passions, has had to eat shit for a long time. You know that guy that's jacked at the gym that you wish your body looked like? That guy had to eat like a fucking bird for years. Just meticulous. That guy spent more time in the gym than he did with his family and friends. Probably ruined relationships, passed up on, career opportunities for it. But that guy was big into going to the gym, and he wanted to get shredded, and goddamn it, he got shredded. And that was worth the payoff to him. The lifestyle that I'm seeing being presented as an alternative in this situation is just party and drinking and living for yourself, partying and drinking and living for yourself and fucking around. That's all short-term gratification. There's no hard work that goes into it. So naturally, the people that live that way are going to end up leading unfulfilled lives because they actually accomplish nothing. When you're on your deathbed, literally no one says, man, I wish I would have gone out and partied a couple more times. A couple more nights at the club where I spent $175 on 6 drinks, maybe got roofied and don't remember anything. I wish I could have had a couple more of those. This is such an asinine video. I respect you guys so much that I don't want to finish it. But I also like getting under your skin, so I'm going to make you finish it.
Wasn't talking about you. She specifically said people that she knows in her life, her friends.
So there we go back to the logical, the straw man argument here. She specifically said people that she knows in her life. Specifically, she wasn't talking about you. So what if she said all the mothers I know, all the parents I know are leading horrible, miserable lives and they're in hell? She was only talking about the ones she knew. Let's extend the logic here. Let's extend the logic here. What if I came on the air and said all the black people I know are criminals? Do you guys think that maybe some of the black people that I don't know might take an issue with that? And then I could turn around and just do what she said. If I'm so off base, why are you guys so upset? I was only talking about the black people that I know. I wasn't talking about any of you guys. Why are you so upset? How dare you call me a racist? They're both stupid generalizations, and the person making the claim in both cases is an ass.
Bitch, do you personally know Chappell Roan? I don't think so. So this isn't about.
Well, you know what? The black guy who was upset about my comment doesn't personally know me, so he doesn't get to get upset either. This is the logical extension of the argument.
About you, except for you made it about you because you felt attacked, because I think you identified with what she was saying. Secondarily,
Yep, that's what it was. You identified. See, the black guy that gets offended when I say that all the black people I know are criminals, he's only offended because he identifies with what I'm saying. Not because I made a stupid racist remark, but because he identifies, because he knows in his heart of hearts that what I said was true and he's actually a criminal. Do you see how stupid this logic is? This is a moron. You would think with this big of a forehead as she has, there would at least be somewhat of a brain in there. Oh my God.
Nothing about what you just said makes you sound unselfish. If you want to have kids and they bring you joy and they spark light in your life and it's worth all the sacrifice for you, that's great. But that doesn't make you an unselfish person. In fact, it means you reproduced an image of yourself because you love yourself so much you wanted to give yourself that gift.
Oh my God, you're going to foul out reaching that much. Oh my God. First off, the definition of selfish, by the way, not having children fits it perfectly. If you intentionally don't have kids because you want to chase your career or you want to go out and party or whatever, if you intentionally don't have kids for that reason, you are objectively being selfish. Objectively. Do I need to pull up the definition of selfish? And I know you'll say it's just the privileged white man's definition here, but I'll pull up the definition of selfish, right? Here's what it says. It says, lacking consideration for others, concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. That sounds to me a lot like what you're describing here. Living for yourself. Selfishness. Now, I'm not saying in all cases selfishness is bad. But people who don't have children are objectively, for those reasons, are objectively being selfish. They are prioritizing themselves over not just their potential children, but the good of society as a whole. I have an S-Corp where I file my business taxes through. because then I can write things off before it actually gets claimed as income, and it minimizes how much I have to pay to the government. Now, I don't lie about anything, but I'm being selfish. I could just file a 1099 as a contractor and just pay taxes on everything without writing it off. But I'm being selfish because I'm saving my money. I'm paying as little into the system as I legally can by having an S corp. That's being selfish. That's by definition. That is being selfish. If you're down to your last, if you got $20 left in your wallet until payday, $20 to make it, let's say 9 days till you get paid next Friday, and you walk past a homeless guy that's starving, and he's got a sign out that says, well, please, food, anything, and you don't use your last $20 on that guy, you're being selfish. You're looking out for yourself first. Now, I'm not saying that's the wrong choice, but that is absolutely selfishness.
In fact, I think if you really examine most of the reasons people choose to have kids, they tend to be more on the selfish side of the spectrum, whereas people who don't want kids oftentimes are doing it for very unselfish reasons.
Yes, unselfish reasons like partying and making money. Very unselfish things to do there. Unselfish reasons. Like wanting to sit on your fat ass and play The Sims for 9 hours a day while you smoke weed out of your vape. Unselfish. You got it. You go, girl.
I am a proud, ignorant woman.
There's never been a better time for that sound effect. Ever. Or this one. Right here.
Stupid bitch.
I've covered this subject more in depth before. I'll link the video, but it continues to amaze me the self-righteousness so many of these people have and just complete lack of self-awareness when it comes.
The fucking irony of that statement. The fucking irony of that statement. I can't even make a joke about it because the joke is the statement itself.
Comes to this conversation. And the comments just kept pouring in. Like this was
That tends to happen when things go viral, yes.
going so viral on Twitter. It was all I could see for a straight 24 hours. This account, Tallow Mom, said Chappell Roan going on Call Her Daddy, saying none of her friends with kids are happy is a prime example of why you cannot just vent to anyone, because I guarantee she has this perspective because a few of her mom friends are going through it, and may a friendship like that never ever find me. May the friendships of narcissistic childless women with no sense of loyalty ever find me. I don't know how to explain.
How is that unreasonable? I don't want to hang out with toxic people like that either. I really don't. I really don't want to hang out with people like that. I'm just checking in on our bingo card here. See if we can check any more of these off. I don't think so yet. She's doing pretty good. Doing pretty solid so far, but there's still plenty of time left here. So, all right, let's keep it rolling.
Explain this to you, but if you constantly complain about your life and it sounds miserable, your friends are going to believe you. And it isn't betraying you for them to generically say, hey, I've noticed that most of the people I know who have kids are not happy. Their
She didn't say most.
lives don't look like how I would want mine to look.
That's not even remotely close to what she said. This is straw man after straw man after straw man. She didn't say most of the people I know with kids don't have lives that look like the one I want to lead. She said all the people I know with kids are in literal hell. That's what she said. There is a difference between those two statements, and you're watering it down on purpose because you know there's a difference between those two statements.
It's like women who complain all the time about their boyfriends or their husbands to their friends and then are shocked that their friends don't like their boyfriends or their husbands. The account in Wokeness said the second her fame runs dry.
Well, we all know about what those girl groups do, those single girl groups. We talked about that in the Monday show.
She will need the strongest SSRI meds just to function.
I mean, that's 100% true. The second her fame runs dry, she'll need the strongest SSRI meds just to function. She's probably already on them. And Mia and I were talking about this earlier. There's a ticking time. Faster than that girl's biological clock, there's a ticking time bomb on her career because she is quickly alienating groups of people. You know, I know everyone talks all this shit about Taylor Swift. There's a difference between Taylor Swift saying, hey, I'm voting for Kamala Harris, and making your retarded politics your entire personality the way that Chappell Roan has. There's a big difference. Taylor Swift, for the most part, does not alienate a lot of people. There's Mia likes Taylor Swift. There's Republican women that like Taylor Swift. There's all races, both genders, religions. Taylor Swift applies to a pretty wide variety of fans, despite what some people on the right, my side, may want to say about her. Chappell Roan does not. Chappell Roan, her demographic continues to shrink by the day with the alienating comments she makes. I'm not saying that, you heard me talking about Taylor Swift. You're coming in. Are you going to come in and finish this with me? Mia's coming in now. Where's the dog?
He's on the couch.
Now you're in.
I heard Taylor Swift.
Yeah, we're talking about, you put your headphones on. You can hear the rest of this obnoxious video. We're halfway through. It's, you are going to have to scoot over a little bit, though, so I can see the screen, because I'm running the mouse here. All right, that's better. No, I mean, that's, but no, I was talking about what were you saying about Chappell Roan? You don't think she's going to be, you think she's going to be a nobody in 2 years, right?
Yeah, because she doesn't cater. I mean, like, I get she's like, I don't know how to say this. I get she's a person, but at the same time, like, your job is to please your fans.
Right.
And yeah, no random person on the street, no one's gonna have to worry about that. But that's her job.
Well,
as much as she hates it, that's her fucking job.
She's not in, yeah, she does seem to hate it a lot. She's not in political commentary either. Or social commentary. Can you scoot over to the left a little bit more? She's not in social commentary where that stuff can fly. She is in music. And your goal in music is to make as many fans as possible. And it's like I was saying, Marilyn Manson in the 90s had songs that sounded just like Korn and Slipknot and Limp Bizkit and all these other new metal bands. But Marilyn Manson chose to alienate Christians in a way that none of those other bands did. And because of that, he severely limited his ceiling. And he did not expand and did not grow and did not remain relevant the way that all of those other bands did to a much higher degree. That's how music and acting works. People don't want, for the most part, don't want political and social views shoved down their throats. And it's like I was saying, there's a difference between Taylor Swift saying vote for Kamala Harris and Chappell Roan making her retarded ideology her entire personality. Were you going to say something else?
Oh, I was just gonna say I saw a video of someone talking about how she is getting upset because people are like asking her political opinions, but she set that precedent for herself.
Yeah.
And they were like, Sabrina Carpenter like didn't ever set herself up for any political commentary.
Yeah, she was just a whore.
Yeah, no one expects anything from her, but
yeah,
Chappell Roan set herself up for that.
Yeah. Well, get ready for this video. So I think after this video, I'm done watching it. I am going to go and get in my car and drive to the gas station and just sit there and huff gas fumes for 20 minutes because I'll probably lose less brain cells than I have watching the first half of this video so far. I didn't finish this entire thing. This is insufferable. This is some of the dumbest, it's not even dumb. Like, I don't think the girl's actually stupid because you actually have to be intelligent to craft bad faith arguments the way she is here. So here we go.
That's the best case scenario. Do you see what I mean? Like, they are always trying to project this kind of image onto women who don't have kids.
They don't need to project the image. Most of you guys are on SSRIs.
Going to be miserable. You're going to be on medication. You're actually crazy. Okay, this next tweet made me kind of giggle because it's just so delusional. The account is seasonal click farm worker, so I guess take this with a grain of salt. But they said the reason parents say things like, it's so chaotic and hard, haha, to childless people, is that the joy our children bring into our lives is so fierce and intense that it would feel cruel and gratuitous even to speak of it in front of them, as if we were egregiously dunking on them. Sure, Jan. I mean, you guys have no problem egregiously dunking on people without kids in literally every other context. As I've already mentioned here, you've got some pretty venomous takes about them and what's going to happen to them and what their motivations are. So spare me this BS that you just don't want to hurt their feelings by bragging about how great it is to have kids. Secondarily, people who are truly happy don't really have to brag about it. Like, if I am around somebody
They're not bragging about how happy they are. She said they're miserable. They said, here's why I'm not miserable. Here's proof of why I'm not miserable. Take it or leave it. The logic goes back to the comparison I made. People that aren't criminals don't need to go around saying they aren't criminals. So any black person that would have gotten offended by the hypothetical situation I said, where I popped up and said all the black people I know are criminals, they're really just deflecting from the fact that they are criminals by this retarded logic. If someone said, hey, look, here's my criminal record. I've never broken the law and I'm a black person. Oh, what are you hiding? What are you hiding? Like, fucking stupid.
Was a multi-millionaire in my life. I understand pretty easily that their life is probably better than mine in a lot of ways. When something
Side note, there are a lot of multimillionaires who blow their brains out. That is, again, only a Sith deals in absolutes. And this is ridiculous. Some of these just objective takes.
is inherently good for all people and something that most people should want to pursue, people are aware of that. They're not daft. The fact of the matter is, having kids is not always a good thing for people. And for many,
which I don't disagree with. I don't disagree with that. But she's talking about this like it's way too black and white.
it's not something they should pursue. It's not something that would be worth it for them when all was said and done. If that doesn't apply to you, fantastic. Obviously, there are many people who desperately want to have kids, who go to great lengths and spend a lot of money
Now, here's where she pretends the first 10 minutes of the video didn't happen and tries to backtrack on the shit she's been saying.
trying to have kids when they have difficulty accessing that. But to pretend as if this is just some higher good that you've accessed and that other people are just too stupid to have picked up on is really arrogant and obtuse. This response to the Tallow Mom tweet made me laugh. The person said, it could be a generational thing too. I've noticed that most women equate something being hard, strenuous, or difficult to thinking that that doesn't lead to happiness. I genuinely think a lot of millennial Gen Z women think life is supposed to be like Disneyland. You know, what's funny is
That's not just women though. That's men too that I've noticed. Literally, if you cannot get instant gratification from something, people don't even want to do it. And that's not exclusive to women. That's a societal rot thing. I mean, you see the average kid says he wants to be an influencer. Like 70% of like Gen Z kids you interview, so they want to be influencers, right? No one wants to do any work.
I've not noticed that. What I've noticed is that women, when they see something that's hard or strenuous, but that is unequivocally going to better their lives, pursue it. It's why women are getting degrees at a much higher rate than men, even though that's strenuous and difficult and expensive.
Oh, here we go. We got another one to check off on liberal white woman bingo here. Flaunts worthless college degree. There we go. We got another one to check off on liberal white woman bingo. Mia, are we almost at a bingo or do we still got more?
No, we still got a lot.
She's actually
more.
doing well. I don't think she's a liberal. I just think she's a misguided independent. And that's fine. We got a lot to go here, though.
And not only are they getting more degrees, they're getting higher degrees. In my own personal life, I've also noticed that it tends to be women who
First off, getting a degree does not mean anything. All the dumbest people I know graduated from college.
are doing the very hard and strenuous work of breaking generational curses, going to therapy, working on their mental health.
Oh, there we go. We checked another one off. Mentions therapy. Mentions therapy. We can check that one off. We're 2 away from a bingo on the liberal white woman bingo card. She may qualify as a liberal white woman yet. Do you think she's going to make it?
Well, she's got gaslighting and astrology, new age bullshit that she needs to get.
All right, here we go. Let's see. How many minutes do we have left?
10.
She can easily do it.
Fixing bonds within their families. So the situation is not that women in this generation are afraid of things that are hard or strenuous, or that they think life should be lived like a child at Disneyland. It's that they are only willing to put in hard work and face things that are strenuous when it is going to definitely improve their lives.
Guys, I went to college. It's not hard. It's really not. The worthless degrees she's talking about are not hard to get. It's literally, do you want to pay for it? Do you find the investment to be worthwhile? That's literally what it comes down to. If you check the boxes and just do the right things, you'll pass with a C. You ever heard the term C's get degrees? That's because that's what the majority of these people that are bragging about their college education are getting through college with. It's not hard. It's not strenuous. I mean, it's a couple of hours of work a week. And if you're fortunate enough that you can live at home or in the dorms and not have to work and your parents will support you or work very, very minimal, which I wasn't in that situation. But if you are in that situation, it's even easier. I mean, it is literally expensive high school in many cases. Not like law school. I'm not talking about that. But these business degrees in psychology and crap like that, it's not that hard. Any of you could go do it right now. It's just not worth the money to do it.
And again, having kids is not definitely going to improve your life. For many people, it would ruin your life.
Now, that's where I disagree. Like I've said before, if your marriage is struggling, if you're financially at the brink, the best thing you can do is have another kid, right, Mia? Have another kid and take out a substantial loan, ideally high interest loans.
That'll fix everything.
Both of them on a house. Both of those things. Make sure you get like an FHA loan with the mortgage insurance that's like $450 a month. The best thing you can do is take on more responsibilities and more debt if your marriage is failing. That'll absolutely fix all your problems.
Others, it would be the best thing that ever happened to you. But the need to insist that everybody make the same choices as you is very weird. I don't know how.
No one's insisting that. Where is she getting this from? Literally all that happened was Chappell Roan said, all the parents I know are miserable and living in hell. A bunch of moms said, we're not miserable. Here's why we're not miserable. Take it or leave it. And now all of a sudden this is flipped into they're insisting that everybody, this is so bad faith. This is so bad faith. It's not even funny.
How you can look around at the world and the number of people who need substances just to cope on a daily basis, or
yeah, people like you, childless cat ladies, you're the ones doing all the drugs.
Look around at all of the hardships that happen to people through no fault of their own. I don't know how you can seriously look at all of the kids who are abandoned, who are abused, who grow up in broken homes and say that every single person should be having kids.
Oh, there you go. The perfect anti-natalist argument. They always come full circle to this. They always take kids that are in bad situations and, born into attics, and they're like, oh, how could you say that these people should have kids? I don't know, man. Why don't you go and ask the kids of addicts? Why don't you go and ask the kids who were born into broken homes and say, hey, would you rather just not exist? Mia, maybe we should ask a child of an addict if he would rather not exist. Do you want to do that?
Would you rather not exist?
No, I think I'm pretty happy existing. Thank you. I wish she would, share that same sentiment. But according to her, when you look at people like me, I'm a prime example of why certain people shouldn't have kids. Because that's what she's saying right there, is that I shouldn't exist. That's literally what she's saying. They always go to this argument. This is always where the anti-natalist, anti-family bullshit goes is, well, look at these kids that are brought into broken homes and blah, 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 blah. They're ignoring the fact that these kids that are growing up with addict parents and that are growing up in broken homes are human fucking beings. And you're saying that they shouldn't exist because they had it a little bit rougher growing up. Fuck you, lady. Fuck you and your giant forehead.
It's just bottom barrel IQ thinking to me.
I mean, you could land a plane on that thing.
Another account with a weird take.
Bottom barrel thinking to suggest that I have a right to exist because I was raised by an addict. Oh my God. I've never hit a woman before, but fuck, I'm ready to punch the screen. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this.
Adam Christian said the reason the Chappell Roan quote about moms is so contentious is that people are comparing having children to not like a preference being chocolate and vanilla, when it's more like not having kids is being able to choose to not go through puberty. You're opting out of a complete physiological transformation that throughout history almost every single person had to go through. It's not about being happy or not. It's about a process of growth. And here we have the person saying the quiet part out loud. It's about the fact that you're getting to opt out of the hardships that they have had to endure.
It's not what they said. That's not even remotely what they said. They didn't say the hardships. They said the natural part of being a human. And by the way, there are people opting out of puberty right now, and it's a sign of just the societal rot that we're dealing with.
To have kids. That's what's really going on. People without kids are very aware, by the way, that that's what's going on within you. We might be more aware than these people are themselves of what actually is happening for them underneath their skin. There are a lot of people who get pressured into having kids, particularly women. I always think it's so odd when I hear right-wing people saying like feminism has broken women's brains, feminism convinced them not to have kids. This generation grew up being told not to have
That's true.
kids.
But,
Like
okay.
you don't know any women if you truly think that.
Never met any. No. Mia, what were you telling me after that church thing when that lady was talking about being a mom? What was it you said to me? Do you remember?
Yeah.
What? Do you want to say it on the air? Are you regretting coming in because this is taking way longer than you thought?
Kind of. I mean, it's also kind of like something personal too.
Oh, you don't have to share it if you don't want to.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, now it seems like I have to.
Yeah. What you do?
Well, so at church, someone was talking about how ever since she was little, she always wanted to be a mom. And so I was telling you that hearing what she said, it made me feel kind of like validated because that's literally all I've ever wanted to be.
Yeah.
Like I remember being in like first and second grade and being like, I want to be a mom.
And why did you feel validated by that? Why did you feel the need to feel validated? Because you only need to feel validated if some type of external source has been making you question that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's societal pressures.
Yeah, exactly.
Because feminism has brainwashed women into not wanting children. That's been or at least it's attempted to. It obviously hasn't succeeded in every case, but that is the goal. It's population control.
What's happened. That's not what's happened at all. I still felt very pressured, thankfully not by my parents, but by vastly everybody else in my life.
Can I say I'm happy this woman's never going to have kids?
To have kids. It is pushed and pushed and pushed on women, as I said. And when you choose not to, you get attacked to this day. So to act like the pendulum swung so far over that women are no longer pressured to have kids is ridiculous. They absolutely are pressured, oftentimes in very rigorous and
no one has ever said that women are not, that there's no women being pressured to have kids. The reality is the pendulum has swung. It has swung. 40 years ago, yes, 90% of women were being pressured to have kids. That's not the case anymore. There's more societal pressures to not have kids or to at least put it on hold and go be a boss bitch and make PowerPoints for $50,000 a year until you're barren. That there's more pressures for that now. That's objectively true. From media and culture and everything. That's what everything pushes that sentiment.
in intentional and mean ways. And a lot of women fold to that pressure. Women and men, I might add, because Chappell never actually even said that this was about moms. Moms made it about themselves. She actually said that she didn't know any people who had kids, meaning men and women, but that's where the conversation has gone. Anyways.
Well, mainly, my guess is that moms reacted to it because I feel like a lot of dads don't watch the Call Her Daddy podcast. And in many cases, don't even know who Chappell Roan is. My life was a whole lot more peaceful before I knew who Chappell Roan was.
I think there are men and women who regret having kids, who don't like their day-to-day life once they get there, who don't feel that the
like your parents
experience meets their expectations. And because of that, they have a mentality of I suffered, so you should have to suffer too. And that's where you get this whole people who don't have kids are selfish thing. If that's you, you need to go to therapy for that. That's not.
Oh, she already mentioned therapy. God damn it. Did she get it? Yeah, she already mentioned therapy. Okay.
Not a normal response. I get that hurt people, but if you go through something awful, the evolved way to look at that is that you would hope to spare other people from having to experience the awful thing that you went through or make the same mistake. If you do make mistakes or have hardships that happen to you, and your response is that other people should have to experience that too because you did, you're not a healed person.
I mean, this is such a reach. You've got people saying, hey, having children has been a natural human function for thousands of years. Hey, I know you said I'm miserable because I'm a mom, but I'm not miserable. And now she somehow spun this. Has this girl ever run for office? Because she should. She's damn good at spinning things into just total bullshit narratives. She somehow spun this into them saying, well, my life sucks, so yours should too. No one has said anything remotely close to that, even in these examples she's provided. By the way, when they provide examples like this, they intentionally take the most extreme ones. Like when you see those man on the street videos of people acting stupid, they don't show you the normal people. They intentionally take the most extreme ones to point the opposition, the so-called opposition, in the most negative light possible. And even then, she is really grasping at straws if she thinks this fits the nonsense she's saying here. I mean, come on.
Let's get through a few more examples of the responses to this. Tallow Mom kept going. She was really bent out of shape over this. She said, studies show that conservative-leaning women have more kids and are also more satisfied with life. It sounds like this is a liberal woman issue, which I'm not surprised by. And then you also had people responding to her with charts showing that liberals have fewer kids than conservatives, which, like, they do, but
not charts and data and studies. Oh, no.
The disparity is not as stark as these people act. And again, this is kind of a correlation versus causation thing. I get that the vast majority of Americans cannot read data to save their lives, but
like you,
as a whole, people on the right tend to be more religious. Religious people tend to have more kids. Why is that true? One, because they get pressured to get married.
Is there anything about religion in there? Oh, no, she has, there's the crystal shit. We haven't gotten there.
Young before their brains fully formed, and oftentimes get pressured to have kids young before their brains fully formed. And
that part, I don't disagree with that part. I think there is a sentiment amongst Christians and conservatives where we pressure people to have kids, and I think it sometimes leads to unnecessary, or get married and have kids young, and it sometimes leads to unnecessary divorce rates. These influencers and your pastor are not going to be there for you when the marriage is falling apart because you got knocked up at 19.
That's because religious organizations have a vested interest in ensuring that you reproduce more people to fill their pews. I am a religious person, but I can still objectively say that organized religion has a vested interest in population control. It's always been very involved with regulating how people behave and with ensuring that their organizations can continue, which takes a lot of money. So religious people get pressure.
Regulating the way people behave. Horrible control tactics, like don't kill people, don't cheat on your wife, don't steal. Horribly regulating the way people live, religion. Here's the thing, guys. Is some of the birth rate amongst religions and or religious folks and conservatives, does it have to do with pressures from family members? Yes. But the reality is, and what she's not going to tell you here, I almost guarantee she's not going to tell you, is that in the mind of a lot of Christians, specifically Catholics, using any form of birth control, including the pull-out method, is the same thing as abortion. And abortion is the same thing as murder in these circles. So they see, when you pull out and nut on your wife's face, they see that as a form of murder, because you're preventing a baby from being born. Did I need to be that graphic in my description? No, but it was funny because I'm taking a really serious subject and I'm being crude and crass about it. So, I mean, yes, when your religion says, hey, if you don't nut inside of your wife every time you fuck, you're literally committing a murder, naturally they're going to have more kids because nobody wants to be a murderer, right? Okay.
To have more kids, they tend to fall in line, they tend to be more conservative. Hence, you get more right-wing people having kids than left-wing people. That isn't.
Yeah, because the liberals never try to fall in line with anything. Yeah, conservative religious people, they fall in line with, like I said, the principles of don't murder, don't steal, don't cheat on your wife. The liberals, they just fall in line with, things like transgender surgeries for kids and open-air drug markets and, banning gas-powered cars. Far more reasonable principles.
Because the left is like preaching an anti-baby message.
They are.
It's really not. In fact,
no, not at all. They just want to kill them.
I tend to find the left's takes on most of these kinds of issues to be more grounded in the principles of individualism and limited government than the right's are these days. And lastly, of course,
where the state can take your kid away if you misgender it. It's so much more limited government. What a fucking idiot. Oh my God. You know what? That attack on religion, she's going to get the spiritual thing because she said, I'm religious, and then proceeded to criticize organized religion like it's totally unnecessary and has never done any good. So she's one away from the bingo here. All we need is the word gaslighting, and we got the bingo. And I'll put you guys out of your misery and stop the video as soon as she gets to it. If she gets to it. If we get a bingo, we'll stop early.
The mouth-breathing man, he says, feminism is something unhappy women invented to sabotage happy women. Like, are you well? Feminism came about because women were oppressed throughout all of history.
No, feminism was a CIA psyop, and I have proof of it. Gloria Steinem, one of the founding members of second wave feminism, was a former CIA operative. Second wave feminism popped up right after World War II when the U.S. government was in record debt and needed to raise money. So they said, let's get the women out of the house and get 2 paychecks and 2 people paying taxes. We can jack up the prices of everything so the corporations will get a little bit of a cut. Gloria Steinem was one of the feminist icons of the 1900s, worked for the CIA. That's not a conspiracy theory. It is a fact. She was a CIA employee. Do you know what her specialty was, Mia, when she was in the CIA? Her specialty was organizing youth movements and minority groups to rebel against governments, to rebel against societal norms. The feminism was a CIA psyop. There's a whole bunch of other connections to it. I'll go over on another show. I don't have time to right now, though.
And they finally had enough, and thanks to technology and thanks to Western civilization, they were finally able to organize and throw off the chains of oppression. Feminism didn't come about because most women were just so happy and coddled and catered to that they were just dying to get to work. No, most women already worked even before feminism. They just didn't get paid for it. And lastly,
yeah, and everything was cheaper. Gee, I wonder why.
Again, none of this from any of these people is giving happy women happy moms. I know happy women and happy moms, and they don't care if somebody else doesn't want to reproduce.
Again, bad faith. That's not what was said.
Like, honestly,
I guarantee if you ask your friends that are moms how they feel about Chappell Roan saying they're literally in hell, they would have an issue with it. But you're not going to do that because it doesn't suit your narrative.
Can y'all even breathe? It's like watching people choke on their own hot air. I think thou doth protest.
Oh my God, the irony. The audacity to accuse anyone else of having hot air.
Too much. It's because hit dogs holler. Again, Chappell was talking about people in her personal circle, and she wasn't even necessarily targeting moms within this conversation. And yet you had a bunch of women see this clip, make it about themselves, and rush to social media to defend their lives. Like, you had all these moms on TikTok posting these videos to the audio clip of this interview, dancing around with their kids, trying to in some way prove a point that, like,
because that's the first time that's ever happened.
They're not miserable. But nobody alleged that you personally were miserable.
Yes, they did!
I actually don't know anyone who's like happy and has children. All of my friends who have kids are in hell. I actually don't know anyone who's like happy.
As I said, happy people don't usually have to prove that they're happy to.
Yeah, non-criminal black people don't have to prove that they're not criminals. So when I say all the black people I know are criminals, they should just shut up, right? That's your logic. Racist.
Other people. For an example, when I was single, I could look around at happy couples, key being happy, and see that life would be better with a husband. Things that are objectively good that make people happy tend to be sought after. And the fact that more and more people are choosing not to go after having kids should tell you something about the role of parenthood. And I think
No, it tells you about the propaganda that people like you have pushed has been successful. And thank God we finally got a movement that's fighting back against this new age feminism.
that there are plenty of really important conversations we could have about what could change or what could transpire to make that role more attractive. But you're not going to gaslight people into believing.
There it is! There it is! We got a bingo, ladies and gentlemen. Gaslight. She checked the last one. There it is. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, liberal white woman bingo. Hannah Cox, congratulations. You are a liberal white woman. Mia, show her what she's won. You've won a brand new apartment that smells like cat piss.
That things are not what they are at the moment. The reality is, for the first time in history, people have a choice on these matters. And because of that, we are seeing people opt out. I'll pause here, though.
Yeah, the reality is you're a fucking idiot and we're done because we got the bingo. The reality is that, like I said, when I started the whole rant off that's gone on way longer than I initially intended, I didn't really think this was going to go. I didn't think I was going to get this angry. And I couldn't even finish it. It pissed me off so much because we got to keep the show under 2 hours and I'm going to go another 30 minutes and I have to do these last 4 minutes. I already know. So I'm going to end it with a little synopsis and rant and we'll get the hell out of here. The reality, Hannah, the reality here is that Chappell Roan and anyone like her, when they say things like all of the people I know who are doing X are Y, that is a generalization. The implication is clear. They are trying to make a point about a larger group of people while using the folks that they know in their personal lives as a reference point. That's all it is. That's all it's ever been. No one would ever say all of the people I know that are doing one thing are another. That would unless they were talking about that demographic as a whole. That's all there is to it. Like the example I made about black people and Jews and, a way less serious one, the Chinese restaurant. All of the people, if you make a sweeping statement about all of the people who fit a certain category in your life, you are more or less applying it to that demographic as a whole. Nobody does that for any reason other than to make a societal statement. They don't. It's like I said. Hey, man, I'm going to get the new Madden game. I don't know, man. Everyone I know who bought it said it sucked. Am I just talking about my personal experience? Or am I trying to say, hey, maybe you shouldn't get the new Madden game? So when Chappell Roan says all of the parents I know are literally in hell and miserable, she is trying to make a point that people shouldn't have kids. Nobody says something like that for any other reason than to try to make the point that they don't think people should have kids. And as much as Hannah wants to protest in this video and, talk about how all these moms are just projecting their insecurities, I think what you're really seeing there is someone projecting her own insecurity onto others. I think that's what that is. She said early on in the video that she doesn't want to have children, which again, I'm fine if that's not what people want to do. I'm not of the mindset where we need to force people to have kids yet. Once we repeal the 19th Amendment, then we'll talk about it. But I'm not in the mindset right now that we need to force people to have kids. And so I don't care when they say these things. But to me, when you make an entire video using just bad faith straw man arguments, taking things clearly out of context, where moms who saw the same thing that myself and just about everybody else who saw that interview did, and reacted to it, reacted to being stereotyped in general and overgeneralized, when you try to take the things they say out of context and flip them in bad faith arguments, that says more about you. And to me, it really, I don't know how old this lady is. She looks like she's at early to mid 30s. Looks to me like the clock's ticking. It tells me that not only has she made a decision that she may be just now starting to regret, but she's uncomfortable because she's made that decision a significant part of her personality and feels like if she goes back on it now, she's going to look like a hypocrite. And that's why she's doubling down with a video like this. Again, I don't give a damn if people have kids. I think people like her should have less kids. But to me, that's someone who is in the final stages of being able to produce a child and has lived their entire life saying they don't want to, and maybe now we're starting to see some cracks in the foundation. House ain't going to fall down anytime soon, but you give it 20 years and you don't do anything about it, and it just might. Do you have closing comments you want to make before we get out of here?
I don't know. It's just kind of insulting, honestly.
Why is that?
I mean, I'm not a mom, obviously.
Yeah.
But just to make the insinuation that all moms are in hell.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I don't know. And it also kind of makes me feel, I don't know. I don't know how to phrase it.
Feel what?
Makes me feel like I'm stupid for wanting to be a mom.
But that's the whole goal of modern feminism. That's what they want to do. That's the goal, and it's worked on people like her. And believe me, there's nothing. If Chappell Roan is on the opposite side of an issue, you're not the stupid one. You can take that to the bank. If that fucking idiot does not fall on your side of any issue, you can rest assured knowing that you're right. And it's like I said, it's It's insulting to parents to claim that everyone you know that's a parent is in hell. And it's also insulting to everybody's intelligence to try to back away and go, whoa, 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 I was just talking about the people I know. That's why I tripled down on it and made such an objective, sweeping statement. That's all there is to it. Anyway, that's been our show. We will see you guys on Saturday. Remember, big announcement Saturday. Big announcement coming Saturday.
I'm pregnant.
Yeah, Mia's pregnant. Mia is pregnant. And being the only employee here at That Spaced, you're fired. We don't employ pregnant women here. You're fired. So no, she's not pregnant. We got some news coming Saturday though. That's if you're in the Omaha metro area, this particularly applies to you. We're going to be doing something really, really big, and you don't want to miss it. We'll see you guys Saturday. Cheat on your taxes, not your spouse, and stay based. All right, we need to end it with this one. There's only one way to end this show here.
Stupid, stupid bitch. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you could actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese Spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.